All right, folks, let's get right to it on Thursday. How's it going? Great to see everybody, and a lot to get to. Whole bunch of stuff in the last 48 hours or so since our last show. Big developments, and then other things. Kind of still waiting on crypto. Still waiting on larger markets to do their recovery. We were at least to see better action as we get back out of the summer into September. So settle in. Let's really quick take a look. Markets are up. Nasdaq's up 80. S&P's up like 20, and we're just still digesting what's happened towards the end of August. Finding support around 23K, and 23.6 has been our number all along. So for Nasdaq, that's probably in terms of stocks, focusing on Nasdaq mostly. 23.6, maybe back down 23.2. We do have a couple of things here, just short term. Currently looking at it was Shark to 5.0. Right now we're 23.530. Are we gonna try to push up now? I mean, it's I got to say, we've just been looking for areas where we might do a return. Doesn't say that has to happen, but let's think of it this way. If we're looking for that correction into September, wouldn't it be great to have like a secondary pattern retest? It should have happened probably, last week as we hit that level. Not last week. Yesterday. So far, so good. What's going on, chat? What are you guys doing? What are you guys looking at today? Um, yeah, I think it's a great. I did want to show you guys this. Look, we're working with Harmonic Pattern Collection, and here's the setup we were just talking about in our small but good group. Like you guys a lot, and I'm not. Here's the thing about what I do online with all of this. We've got a really tight Discord group, and I the goal for me there is to kick out levels and highlight things like this. Here's a perfect setup. I should show you guys the Discord thread. Just to, I think to clarify kind of some of the stuff that we do. I don't do too much of the day trading here because I just think it's so time consuming. It's just easier for me to do posts and to say, okay, here's the levels. And this is for you guys right now. Actually, we're sitting here. It's a retest of the shark. It's a type 2 shark right now, 23,543 for NASDAQ with confirmation. Okay, I'd taken an earlier short right up here. The numbers were basically 36 to 46, and we've been sideways most of the day. It was kind of a dud so far, but I mean, I would like to do that. I really need to have dedicated time to do that. Turn on the get on the dome and just sit and watch. I just sit and watch the market. But for now, if you guys are looking at NQ trading NQ, that's kind of like what I'm looking at immediately. I think the hourly. I wanted to bring this up. Since this shark, that was Tuesday. We talked about that. It's a pretty big deal. I mean, there's a couple of things there where, for where we are, I think a lot of people are getting antsy. A couple of you guys asked me about tariffs. I really don't know anything about tariffs. Again, I said this last time, and actually, I talked about it yesterday. We had a great session for the Think 2026 year ahead, and I talked about it. I talked about why all that narrative, no matter what it is, what side it's from, doesn't matter because for the markets, we need to focus on just activity expansion? You know, are we continuing this long-term trend that we started 5 years ago, 10 years ago? I mean, that's it. Is the easy money going to continue? That's a really been the underlying kind of argument that as long as they're able to expand debt markets, spend more money, and keep printing more dollars, look, the stock market's going to keep going up. It's going to be our job, and this is some of what I talked about yesterday of just locating those areas, those retracements within the trend. I mean, we've got one right now that's, before I jump to gold and Bitcoin, because that's really what I wanted to get to in particular today, we have a really important development today, folks, on the software. We're going to print a dot. That's a bullish dot within this bearish trend. Excuse me. Bullish dot within the bullish trend. But the interesting thing about this, and look, we're already back to that 46 number. This wants to go higher, folks. This wants to go higher even intraday. But this is the big deal. Okay, so it won't be official until 4 o'clock today. But this is a rather significant potential continuation point because it's not only formed after a nice pause here and in ideal fashion with HSI, but you're confirming something here that's above the prior bearish reading. And that's usually, it says that the only retracement you're going to get at this high level is just kind of a nominal pullback. So that's, absolutely a huge development. I mean, again, that's one of our proprietary signals with the software. Okay, but it's big for what we do. It's huge. Hold on a second. I got to get this up for a second. Let me bring this back. So looking at that, we're 556 now. Yeah, we just cracked that range. Like 551 was the number. Hold on, really quick. NASDAQ. 558 is the hop level here on couple. Yeah, look, there you go. Interesting. Oh, it's the regular trading hour. This is what I'm looking at. That's pretty big, guys. This is for the day. Is this going to do the continuation now? Because above 558, 558 is the maximum number. Watch that. Come back there. But seriously, the daily, and you're up 110 today. So again, you just need to be positive. A positive close in the daily sets that off. And last time we saw that, it's been a while. I'm trying to go back. Where's the last? Well, the last daily reading was there, but the last time where we got that kind of trend continuation, maybe a year ago, August, or where was that? I mean, we don't get them too frequently, but it is kind of like this where all through 2024 last year, every time we were poking a HSI, we got a dot. You start looking for that continuation, and I think we're there. It's just, is this going to surprise people where we don't have that much of a retracement come October? Everyone's getting nervous. It's September, right? It's the worst month for crypto. Oh my God, look out. Sell everything. And now we have a bullish dot. Listen, before we go any further, get over to harmonicpatterncollection.com or harmonictrader.com, or just send your TradingView username to hpc@sr-analyst.com. Get a 14-day free trial. If you're interested, I will have that recording, but from yesterday, but it's going to be on the Discord. You got to DM me. Hold on. Let me set that up. So settle in, everybody. What's going on? What do you guys want to look at today? Let me know. I'm going to get to Bitcoin and gold from yesterday. I think I'm going to start with gold first. And then I'll circle back to why gold and Bitcoin are so critical for stocks and NASDAQ 100 and, maybe just Mag 7. But that's a big development right now. Today, we'll take it to 4 o'clock. You got 4 hours until that daily signal is valid. I'm going to come back next week. The bigger targets, I talked about the bigger targets in yesterday's session. Just for you guys to know, the only thing I'm looking for is where does this little retracement end? Is it right here? Because wherever this next retracement ends, we're still going higher, 24.4. Eventually try to make that run to 25. For the measured levels, we'll think 24.4. Other things, most people are going to just think big fat round 25K. A lot like gold. A lot like gold 5,000. So, Goldman came out. Speaking of Goldman. Now they're coming around to 5,000. So let's talk about really quick about why gold, and then we'll get to Bitcoin, is important to the whole easy money asset appreciation continuation for the immediate 12, 18 months. All right, the gold market. I've been amazed about the gold market since this monthly breakout all the way down here. Okay, and you guys know that what I've been saying about gold for a while, that the larger possibilities of going after we got through that, really the 25, 2700 mark. Once we got from down here, we did the breakout, and then we got like 25, 2700. There was some bigger extensions. Then it took on a whole new character, and that's a big understanding, a big I think consideration that you have to start to embrace. Okay, we are now getting into the acceleration phase of what we've been talking about in terms of Bitcoin and gold and stocks for the better part of 2 years. And gold's leading the way. I mean, the markets are kind of like this. And if you're, if this is equivalency of NASDAQ and Bitcoin, where we're looking for these guys to do these big 1618, 1902 extensions. All right, gold's already shown us that, look, within what our original expectations were, and then it just changed character above that 1618 and it went full acceleration. That's your Bitcoin chart. That's what you're looking for in terms of stocks. All right, and gold's leading the way. And gold, even with this, looking back at the last 6 months, guys, I have been amazed that have been able to hold 3350. And 3350's been the number. What is it? It's the 3618. It's the big cycle 3618 extension, which has been our target. And so now what? 4100 all along. So gold work uptrend thing like that, where, and that's not even a good one. In this kind of a trajectory, forget the long-term channels. This is not only the 3618, okay, but how much so? Like where is this really going? Because it's on a whole new path. And the measured levels, things that I've mentioned before, we could even, you know, hold on. Are we back now? We back. All right, we're back. No, we're good. All right, we're back. Thanks, guys. I don't know what happened there. I lost my futures platform too, but I think we're back. Let me see. Can I reconnect? Yeah, I'm back. All right, great. Anyway, let's start over. Welcome. All right. Harmonic Pattern podcast number 446. Great, guys. Thank you. Hang in there. Anyway, and so the bigger part of what I was getting before we got cut off is that we're expecting what is happening. We're looking for higher targets. And until we reach those higher targets, consider this thing fully on. Gold, guys, right now, the only numbers you need to worry about is 3350 and 4100, 4200. 3150, I told you that before. That's the bigger. It's this. Wait, it's this. It was that immediate 3618. Like that was 3350. Okay. That's cleared out. We can kick this out even to a further time frame like this all-time extension. Current level is a 2618, which is almost the same 33-ish. So there, and then the full-on 3618. That's like 4120. What I think will happen with gold on this move, and we've seen this, and I'll get to Bitcoin in a second here to show you it's a really similar kind of parabolic going on. I don't know if you guys seen this. Let me find this. Come on back. Let's see. I cannot. Did this end officially? Yo, this is so ghetto. Okay. Okay. Sorry, guys. Hold on. Are you kidding me? Can you guys still hear me? Let me know. Can you guys still hear me, please? I don't know what the problem is. All right, thanks. I don't know. I don't know what it is. Um, yeah, because I'm so done with Comcast. I'm so done. And I bought a Starlink like a year and a half ago, and I never hooked it up. And I think this is the moment in time. I'm looking at. I think I'm streaming on a hotspot through my phone at the moment. This is crazy. Really crazy. It said everybody's in Miami and they're all on Comcast, and Comcast is out completely. Do you hear me? Because it's not working. Hold on. I might have to come back. Probably just like restart the whole thing. Hold on. Uh, okay, great. Seems fine. Let me know. 4 hour gold. Let's go. All right, great. Well, that's the gold chart. I mean, straight to 4,100 now, guys. But let's talk Bitcoin. Let's and hope to God we lose power all the time. Lose power and lose internet. Let's go Bitcoin. If you guys are still with me, hang on. Sorry about the inconvenience there. Ridiculous. Bitcoin down 2,000 at the moment. I did see Mitch in here. What's up, Mitch? And what are we going to do about Bitcoin? I mean, look, daily time frame bounce. Probably the only thing I'm looking for. I think I said this last time. Get amplified above 50. We're now 109.7, 111 still the number for me, guys. But daily time frame has to get above the 50. All right. Yeah. One second. I'm having a hell of a time today. Hold on. Give me 1 minute. Hold on. Bear with me. This is fun. I don't know what's going on my side, but I'm doing my best. Yeah, it's Miami. Sure. And it's cloudy. Yeah, why go to work? Take the day off. It might rain. I think that I just fixed it. I don't know. System was down, but I was checking it on the other side. Anyway, when's Bitcoin going to a million after it does this retracement? What's the worst can happen to Bitcoin, guys? I mean, if we're going to just X A B C D this stuff, what is it? Well, X A B C A B C there, and then maybe a shark. A couple of you guys were kind of poking me at this, saying, what if it does a shark like that? Maybe. I like what's going on. You guys know I've been looking for 111 the whole time. After we didn't bust out at 123, I was like, uh-oh, oh shit, it wants to come back. Retest 111. 111 is still this. It's still these multiple patterns here. And confirmations maybe a little lower at 1088 or something like that. So I'm not worried about, and nor should any of you really be too concerned unless you're like a 5 minute or a day trader of Bitcoin, which I don't know too many people day trade in Bitcoin. I think at most the shortest time frame should be 4 hours for Bitcoin. You have lots of opportunities, but you're not really too concerned overall about $3,000. And we are looking for that. I mean, you're looking for whatever this retracement is to be over and done with this month and start to go to some heady effing numbers. I wherever this bottoms out, if it's here, 106, whatever, I'm looking for, back to 118, 120 pretty soon. Like 30 days. Think about it. We're going to be 30 days from now. 4 weeks from now is going to be the big beginning of October. The second half of the cycle. All your self-fulfilling dreams, desires are going to come true. So you're just looking for that launch point. Otherwise, what you're saying is the cycle's over. Is the cycle over? I don't think the cycle's over. Mitch, is the cycle over? Mitch, what's the chance the cycle's over? 10%? 20%? And then what does Bitcoin do? Go back to 30,000? I mean, there's some big guys. I respect everybody out there. A lot of people been into Bitcoin a lot longer than I have, and I just care about the measurements. But this is the general take still that, Bitcoin is trying to resolve this monthly 1618, 1902 zone. That's definition of price discovery, right? That's like harmonic price discovery 101 is the 1902 1618 zone. We talked about this yesterday. Okay? And really, what are the possibilities if we're going to just stick to harmonic measurements? And I just think you're going to mimic the 2020 cycle, or you should be mimicking the 2020 cycle. And that had a butterfly, X, A, B, C, D, and then you go to the 1618, and then you take a hard look. Tell me what you see. Tell me what's going on there. Because clearly, and this is ideal harmonic behavior. I meant to show you guys the diagram, so I'll go to that in a second. But look, we get to the 1618. If we're going to go parabolic, the character should change. The character of the price action. It should be straight up. This time, I'll say this. I'll recognize that having a 4-month correction at the 1618, although it is normal in most harmonic instances, like you get to a big 1618 on the QQQ or the SPY, yeah, you get a reaction. For crypto, everyone thinks it should just do, go straight 1618, full parabolic 3618, because that's what happened here. 3618. of the last cycle was 65, 66K. And I was saying, I think that's it. That was the limit. Maybe it's just doing it in a slightly longer, more constructive style now. But nothing changes, guys. I mean, look, maybe the only thing that changes is give me a monthly close that triggers above these levels. You know, triggers the close on back in July was at right at 115,700. So maybe we need a monthly close above 115 or above 120 to then send it into a parabolic state. And that's the best way to describe what we're looking for here is the price action to go into a hyperactive state where it's just insane continuation month over month and basically taking you a good percentage of the prior distance in like half the time. Percentage wise, you go from 1618, 1902 to 3618, which is, if it's going to be a 3618, 3618 for the cycle again is 210. I always want to go and take it in chunks where minimum definition of an extreme move here is basically 155, 153, somewhere there. So I'll be conservative, although my 3618 is definitely my favorite objective. That's the definition of absolute minimum parabolic extreme target for Bitcoin for the cycle. And then what I think will happen is you'll pop off with some overextended follow through. Speaking of pop off, NASDAQ up $1.25 at 572, 23.7, 570. I'll jump over there in a second now that we've got our issues worked out. If this is the case, and again, I think this is going to be a session where, and a time frame where we come back to these sessions and say, remember when we were saying X, Y, and Z at the beginning of September and October, or for September? I mean, this is a lot like where we were a year ago saying, it's September. And we already had the August correction and we were already on our way. Well, I'm telling you, within the harmonic pattern framework, we're textbook. It's a textbook deal. Let me show you this. Let me get the scale out. All right, show you guys what I'm talking about. Go over here. Go to basic member page. Yes, get the software. If you're not with the software, folks, you shouldn't even be here because you're wasting your time, frankly. You can learn everything by hand, but get the TradingView Harmonic Pattern Collection. Send your TradingView username to hpc at sr-analyst.com. My partner Chris will hook you up. But what I'm trying to get at is the same reference material that's in the books. So go to the basic members page. That's free. And then click, here are the books. I want to show you guys just the scale of ratios so you understand. It's in Harmonic Trader Volume 1. Perfect. Opening up right to that chart. Whole chapter on ratios. So the whole ratio idea or scale of ratios, okay, related and founded in basically the 618 and 1618. And then we treat that like a scale. And then there's other complementary ratios. But where did it go? Hold on. But we treat them and we use them as like metrics of character. Here, where'd it go? There you go. This is it. You know, this is the exact illustration of what we're looking for right now to continue. And we're looking for this, the 2618 to 314, just like this. But from the 1618 area, it's an accelerated move. Really quick. You want the link? Direct link is here. Here. Direct link. Let me know if this works. But we'll look for that here in with Bitcoin in the next 3 months. I mean, that's the expectation. I would say 100 days. If we're on the scale, if we're right about this, guys, seriously, if we're right about what Bitcoin's doing altogether, then we are at that point before that big push. Hold on. Hold on. If we're on the scale, there you go. Yep. So that's the book. I think that should be the PDF link. You can click that. So that means where we are right now, beginning of September, you're embracing retraces, you're monitoring on 4-hour charts, you're looking for stuff like this. It doesn't look too spectacular, no, but it's really scraping this low end confirmation here. Hop level, yeah, 11K. 111K, or what's that, 110K? These hops are 110. The pattern zones are like 11.2. But I'm fine with that. So be patient. Again, all of this, what you've seen in gold doing spectacular things, will come back to Bitcoin and, just only reinforces the larger argument. Who knew? Really, who knew that gold was going to do the move like Bitcoin did? Because remember, I could do the overlay. Yeah, let me do overlay of gold here. Just gold futures overlay here. Where'd it go? It should be on there. Hold on. Oh, I can't even get that. I didn't do it right. All right. Let me come back to this. Yeah, all kinds of issues today. Here you go. There's NASDAQ, all-time highs for the day. Yeah, that failed. Let me come back to Bitcoin. So 4-hour chart. That's all. Let me get a better broker than MEXC. Weekly here, though, this is what I want to show you guys. About the only thing that could happen this month is that weekly decides to come down and get oversold. Preferably, I would like it if it does, it just kisses it and then goes. But it all sets up for September. The other thing I wanted to show you guys of why I'm looking at this as just maybe a nominal retrace of 11K is that the weekly here is at the 50 line, and if we hold here and we can turn around again, we need to get through this week. That's a big potential simple retrace. Not there yet. When was the last time we saw that? You're kind of like where we were. You have to go back a ways. The last 50 continuation. But that's it. This channel is fully intact, and in terms of Bitcoin, is really the only question is, are you going to hold it through the whole cycle? Are you in Bitcoin forever? How many people are in Bitcoin forever? Like, if it's going to go to 30K, you're still holding. If it goes to 300K, you're still holding, even if it goes to 300K and then all the way back. Because essentially, if that's the argument for Bitcoin, then and you're looking to hold forever, 10 years, 15 years, like you want to see if Sailor's right. And so you're going to buy it, and never sell it. You don't care. And then you'll when it's time to retire, you'll cash it out. All right? And because you're going to see if Sailor's right, if it's going to 13 million or whatever the heck they're saying. I mean, that's a pretty big boast market call to say what these guys are saying, but essentially, those are the two questions. Are you going to trade this swing cycle for higher prices, for extreme prices, or are you just going to, continue to buy it no matter what because you're looking for this and just higher? Is this the trend? Think about it. Is this the trend? I do think we see a 3618 off of the last cycle, the 2020 cycle, like that. And then, at the 2.0 right now is like 120. Yeah, who said that? Somebody said that. But again, no biggie. Uh, are you kidding me? It went out again. Hang with me, guys. I don't know what's going on. I'll be Starlink in a week. But let me just put it to you this way, okay? Because in terms of, I've got Bitcoin two ways. I've got something that I'm willing to trade, and then about a year or so ago, maybe a little longer than a certain amount, that I'm just going to buy and hold forever. But I mean, it's a lot now. Trader, it's something where I earn it off and just see how it works out, almost like just a YOLO play. But I do know that if we got to these extreme levels, 210, something like that, and then let's say we did a 618 all the way back to 88 or a 786, that could happen. That kind of a thing. I mean, here's the next few years. Think of it like this. If this is the post-cycle deal, and so, and correct me if I'm wrong, but apparently, a 1 year after, and then you got like 9 months. So take it to the end of the year, beginning of next year, should be like that. And then do another, let's call it a 618. 618 would be like 80K. Is that what Bitcoin's going to do again? And really just, and then what are you going to do with that if that happens? Because if that's the case, for me, if I'm thinking like we go 3618, which would be, there you go, let's like this, but in the correct time issue, and then come all the way back down to like a 786, something like that. Remember, just so you guys know, we're gonna follow the same rhyming behavior. This is what it did 2020, which was pretty remarkable. There you go. You know, and then that was a 3618 almost perfectly. I mean, that was crazy. And then what was the 15K? It was a 786. Let me see the other. Hold on, where's let me get an all-time index history. There you go. Bitfinex, or where's Binance? Yeah, the index chart's pretty good too. Yeah, look. I like that all-time history index chart of Bitcoin. All right. But we've seen this parabolic kind of expansion happen multiple times, and I'm going to take you all the way back here. I mean, amazing. Go back to 2012. Anybody buy it in 2012? I'll be jealous. It's the same kind of a thing. You know, you had this long, crazy, drawn out, and from back then, hold on. Let's blow it up. And I'll explain why. Because this is the minimum Bitcoin just expansion cycle. We've seen it before. Look at this, 2010, okay? Old Satoshi right there. I'm going to print a new monetary system and give myself millions at a penny. I don't, guys, I'll never get over the origin story of Bitcoin. All right, the Satoshi is, for me, is pretty much probably CIA. But does it really matter at this point? But here you go. You had that parabolic cycle, no matter what that was. And that was a full 886. Full 886. But then the real cycle, the 2012 cycle, my whole point is even back then, you're making the same assumptions. That you're looking for the retracement cycle, all right? And then you're taking it to a 2618, excuse me, a 1618 to 1902. Tell me what's going on there. There's the 1618, like right there. And then there's the 1902, like there. Tell me what happens. It's the same premise. Even though, yes, that was where it went crazy, and $5 a coin. That's just mind-boggling. I'll take 1,000, please. But look at what happened. The character change. And we're looking for this the same way. There's 1902. It blasts through. In this case, there was never a pullback. And then you'd look for 3618, which is right there. And in the 2012 cycle, 2013 cycle, 3618 was like 110. How high did it go? What was the high? 260. But it was all overspill. I mean, meaning like it can go there, and this is kind of the parabolic overspill deal, that when we hit that price bar, which was April 2013, where was I? Oh, I was getting married. Getting married. 2013. Literally when it topped out. Like the second week. But it did a blow off move and then came all the way back down. This one, high to low. And believe me, I don't know how we got so deep on these, breaking down these cycles. But look, high to low. That was a 786. Didn't look like it, but that's what it was. So far, we've established that if it's going to go crazy, parabolic expansion cycles, we utilize the 1618, 3618 metrics. Because when we get to the 3618, yes, it can go higher. But time-wise, it comes down to the price bar. Here's the 13 corrective cycle into 14. Bitcoin was 100. But doesn't matter. We're thinking proportion. All right. Hey, Bitcoin's a real deal thing. So it should go another 1618 price discovery expansion cycle. Okay, there's the 1618 at 400. 1902 is up there at 460. Okay. And then bust through there. Where's the 3618? Is it 860, 850, something like that. But once it hits there, look, you're pretty much looking for the next red bar to absolutely confirm the end of it. I mean, yes, this went measured move 3618, 860. It went to 1200. All right, that's like almost 50% more than the target itself. But in terms of time, it was over within 30 days. The whole thing was and that's probably what we should be thinking in terms of crazy expansion cycles. And then look what happened. And this was the one that got me. Like I think, was it 14 or something? I mean, people really started asking me about Bitcoin and Ethereum. I did a presentation in Poland at a FX conference. God, that was that was 10 years ago, over 10 years ago. And that's when people started asking me about Bitcoin and Ethereum. And I started looking in earnest really after that. But this is what got me. It was the Gartley. The big, massive Gartley. And I think Mitch was also talking about, oh no, it was the other one, 2018 Gartley. Regardless. I started looking at that one. Oh, it was the 3000, the 3K Gartley. But still, again, Harmonic, I really started taking notice there. Because not only are the patterns, but again, for the 2014-15 cycle, it's like this. Again, just shooting up a 1618. Because my whole thing was that if Bitcoin's a real deal asset class, going to keep getting money, then it goes to this 1618, which was 1800. The 1902 was 2023, 2200-ish. And once you clear that, you look at 3618 again each time. And I should be on the monthly here. Let me go to the monthly time frame. I just lost it. Bummer. I stick on the weekly, regardless. So there was the 3618, and that's probably what the cycle that truly blew people's minds because of the price. You know, the measured level was 4,000, 4,200, and that was hit in August. This is a weekly chart versus the monthly. So August, but it was over by December. And that was maybe one of the best instances. Like, you know, you hit the target, even though it went incredibly. It tripled above the measured level. Tripled. I mean, that really was the one that kind of blew it out. But then another full all-time 786. And we'll continue to look for, I think that's really the sequence of expansion and then retracement and go again. I will say this double bat to back to back, bat to bat for me was where then I said, yeah, this thing is for real. You know, this was perfect. And that launched it. And that's one of the greatest, literally one of the greatest charts ever. I mean, I'm a firm believer. You got patterns looking left, guys. All right, it matters. It's like a you know, plant the flag. That's the forever low kind of a deal. It's still going to coil up. Look, in that instance, 1618 was there. 3618 was perfect. You know, 3618's like there. So I'm just, that's what I want to look at in terms of where we are now. Maybe it's taking a little bit longer. Probably the monthly chart is a better way to look at it. But nothing changes versus our immediate level. My again, my thought is that if we get there, and let's say we hit that 30-day level, excuse me, let's say we hit the 3618 all the way up there, and then 30 days later we can't continue higher. I'll be calling it. I will be calling it. I mean, it's going to be like this, like 3618. The last cycle was almost perfect. Why is it like that? Oh, because that's not right. 3618 is like that. Let's get it perfect. And then it's 215. It's 210. And is that it? You go there and then what? 786? Like that? I mean, is that what we're considering? Because it wouldn't be outside the norm of everything else, and then go again. That's what I'm kind of postulating here, of how the hell is Saylor gonna get to his numbers? If we're gonna do this within the same 4-year cycle and then throw some harmonics on top of it, how are you getting there? That's, for me, just kind of like have a clue. Well, if that's a possibility in 3618 and 786 all the way back down there, then I'd be up a lot, and then I'd be back to, not up a lot. My best advice is let's see when we get there. But we know what we need. We know what we need. That's the whole Bitcoin long term. How do you get to his prices or crazy prices if we're going to follow the same percentage expansion retracement? It's something like that. Maybe it's not that crazy. The only thing that I really could see happening is that if something new comes in down the pike, literally between now and the end of the year, that is so major to change the paradigm or greatly enhance the paradigm of the adoption phenomenon, that you get something where you not only get to a 3618, but you blow past it. So that means if that's your bigger case scenario, if that's what's happening, okay, so where we are now is just small potatoes. And I think you're on the edge there. We're here September 4th, guys, in the same way we were here a year ago. Looking, people were despondent, distraught. I mean, again, look, we were here. We were here with a dot. Remember, we were talking about let's get the dot. Let's get the dot. And as soon as we got the dot, the only other thing we needed was a cross of the 50 line. And had this awesome move to the 1618 target. Maybe we need a little bit more time, but just to remember, okay, and refresh everybody's memory, getting these dots was huge, and then getting right here, crossing the 50 line, was the final straw of the mandatory minimums. Relative to where we were a year ago, yeah, we have a little work. We need to turn up here. And so maybe we're, just to be clear, set proper expectations, because boy, expectations in this crypto space, even as bullish as you can be, as maybe you should be, they still need to be tempered somewhat. Understanding, look, natural market mechanisms are at work here. Harmonics are at work here. Just follow dots. Dot to dot. So maybe we need this. Measured level, still 111, guys, on Bitcoin. But for now, I think it's just a time game. If we're sticking to our longer term plan, then where we are relative to the whole picture is a lot like where we were a year ago, maybe a little earlier. So I'm glad everything's working out. I mean, it looks like my connection's better. I'll take a couple shills here. Matt saying, I don't think people are distraught. They're more bored, absent with the final FOMO. Then a 50% haircut followed by a 170 target, similar to 2021. I'd be surprised. I mean, Matt, I don't know really where we are. I don't disagree. We can't do 20, 30% corrections, but 50 to go to what, 50K? I don't think we're going to do that. Not if we're at this point. If we're trying to finish the thing. Aren't we trying to finish this cycle in 3 months based on history? Oran says BTC will always be the Coca-Cola of Bitcoin, of crypto. Yeah, I mean, look, it's a digital store of value. I think digital gold, based on the work that I have, the research of, the problems with processing speed and limits of amount of transactions and needing these layer 2 whatever to facilitate payments. I don't think that's what Bitcoin's more for. Like, I think what it's developing into is just a place where people are putting verified investable bond money, like securitization, that eventually you could probably lend off of that. I don't know. I mean, this is the other. You look at other things like Ethereum. Segue there for a second. 4311. Okay, Ethereum is. I think Ethereum is just more about market cap. 520 billion. So what is this going to be? A $1 trillion entity? Like a lot of $1 trillion entities? Because that's, in terms of asset allocation, that's pretty much what's been happening, where depending on the tech company, depending on what you are, if it's Tesla, Meta, Nvidia, whatever, they're in that mega class. So is Ethereum going to be a part of that $1 trillion mega class? I think eventually, yeah. I mean, it's been just all about that. So more so market cap. But at what point does this thing really go into price discovery? I mean, you're trying to crack it now. And again, like you had here, and what I'm saying is that once you get to these kind of resistance levels, trying to take it out, here's Ethereum back from 2021, broke out above, was it 150 billion ish, and something like that kind of correction, like a 30% correction before a big spike move, yeah. But it's usually going to be like a 1 bar thing, and that's where we are in the cycle. I mean, again, we're talking a lot about just looking at these 1618 moves. That's what that was. And then get to 1618, 1902. Once you clear that, you go parabolic, 3618. That's the kind of the harmonic scale, and we're doing it the same way. Here, you got to clear all-time highs. But I think, if this larger cycle, meaning this year, is going to bring crypto to levels of 5 to 8 trillion, then yeah, this should be busting the move. Even if it's just a simple butterfly pattern. You are in a CD leg It should take you to a minimum 127, maybe a 141, where Ethereum is more than halfway through to that to try to get to that 750 billion dollar market cap. Price wise, it's like 6, 7K. It's like this. But maybe that's a thought where, yeah, I've been looking for Ethereum. Can it go back, have a 382, which is 36, and then go? I'm not allocated to Ethereum. I would like to get it if it gives me a nice entry, like a pullback, like 4 hour time frame, maybe 4,200 right now. But I'm looking more something on the daily. After that huge run, I can't chase that. Really tough to try to chase that. And I've talked about that. For me, if I'm looking just harmonic stuff, flat out, pattern wise, Ethereum is already in a type 1 reaction. Can we get to target 1? Because that also would be an ideal thing we've talked about where you get a reaction on the pattern and it comes down and then the return is what takes it. So I'm in no rush, but I do think things are coming together in the longer term where you have the retracement, you crack those levels, it's gone. BNB is the other one. I think BNB is I think that weekly chart's one of the best ones. I mean, BNB weekly, it's already had an amazing move. But look, BNB weekly ready to go to your 1618, and this has got just parabolic written all over it. So at a weekly dot currently, sure. Why? Because you're not above a 1618, but this chart's amazing. I mean, the monthly chart is what really stands out. Like you go back here, and the way this trend has just persisted, like this, you want low risk opportunities, look for retracements as this thing winds its way up to about 1100. Currently 845. I mean, you could. I'm not someone that just says go and buy it, but if you wanted to FOMO, I mean, this isn't a massive trend, and once we cleared 1100, you're going 2618, 3618. I mean, that's where this stuff's going. I gotta say that of a lot of the crypto projects that have popped off recently, Crypto.com is something that I think we need to look at after it does the retrace. I mean, that was a great breakout after a multi-year kind of higher low, higher low. No reason to chase it, but this came out of the grave off of that last 8 cent level. I mean, this was dead for a long time. But if you're able to hold these lows and continue to break out, I'm looking at that. I mean, can we get back maybe down to like 20 cents? Would be great. Look, what have we talked about today? Just kind of highlighting these extreme moves, right? 1618, 3618. A lot, mostly on like weekly, monthly. Here, Chronos, 4 hour time frame. Look, is it going to be more than a 1618? There's 1618 right there. Blast through. Goes through 2618. 2. Then up 3618. All right. The overspill, sure, but within 1-2 bars after that, you're done. So now, wait for a retracement. Can we get a simple 618, 786, like 20. 618 is like 23. But if this is the start of another wave as we're getting into September, this should continue. That should continue. Let it come back in though. 4 hour time frame. No. We can look at let me show you one or two that I'm looking at that are right there. So check it, and just things that are like I've been going through where, all right, if you've got patterns looking left, was it this one? Was it Aptos? No, 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 it wasn't Aptos. Although there on the daily, it is a type 2, but that wasn't it. I think it was ARB. Yeah, some of these making progress off of the lows. ARB, Aptos. No, 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 no. Hold on. I think maybe it was Arrow. Yeah, Arrow. Arrow and Sui. A lot of these that they've gone through big retrace cycles, and even in the last couple of months had a great move. We're coming down for the type 2 return after hitting, we're at 110. We need to get 102. But that's another one that's building where I might have dismissed that. There's the shark retest of the type 2. So right there is the beginning of the type 2. First thrust, come back down. That's under $1. Wait for that under $1. But that is one of many. There's a bunch of these. Where's the other one? It's sorry. It's definitely an A. It's API 3. Yeah, with the weekly. I'm going to come back to this. Another weekly dot. Let's look at a couple things here. What's going on? I'm not looking at you guys. Yeah, we can look at the QQQ. I'll come back to that. Yeah, Neil's right. Let's look at Solana. There you go. Solana's still 227. I mean, you had a dot checking back last week, but we're still waiting for 227. And that's another example of what's your conviction. Anybody hold through 286 back to 105, and now you're 204? If this is the case, this is actually a good one to look at, because if we are supposed to be setting up to go higher on this cycle, then we should be blowing out this dot this week. Yeah, what about Cardano? Well, 92 cents continues to be kind of the ceiling on this whole thing. And 92 cents was this. Come on back, was the shark to 50. So the fact that Cardano keeps on reacting at these levels, 55 to 92, tells you it's still building. I think it's different than maybe something like Chainlink. But your latest retrace, and I will say this, okay, the dots have been really helpful on this cycle. There's the last bearish dot. come all the way back. Looks like we'll probably get another bullish dot pretty soon, maybe at around 80 cents. Dot, just an arrow, but another dot. So trying to highlight the things that are really the triggers, at least short-term triggers, to set us up for whatever is to come in the next couple of weeks. Because again, if the whole expansion cycle is supposed to be realized by the end of the year, even if it's next year, even if, and I'm not of that opinion, I don't think this crypto run stretches into the spring of next year. But even if it did, you're still thinking that whatever this retrace is across the board is supposed to be the last retrace. There's weekly. Chainlink's like this, guys, and I think Chainlink is, one of those super well-known reputation, great reputation crypto that not a rug pull beanie baby. That maybe we just look for the retracements here. So right now we know 25 bucks, 24.50 has been the dot area. We need the pullback to 19, and that might be the next go point. So wait for that. XRP, same deal. Yeah, 82. See, I'm going to think that XRP is probably doing the same type of thing that it did earlier in the year. That you're going to just scrape these lower dots. You're digesting this massive move November up until January, came back. Can't break out yet. Give me a couple dots around, the 290-ish. But probably takes its time. Not ready yet to go do crazy, crazy things, but you really can't deny what the type of trend this is. It's like that. It's still like that. And I think everyone's going to be obviously piling in on the bust out. And XRP is the other one. Is XRP, people talk about XRP like they talked about Bitcoin. An XRP being here. It's 180 billion market cap. The way everyone talks about it, though, is the same way that it said Bitcoin. Saying Bitcoin's going to be the real deal. But then there's other people that say XRP is total garbage. And they're usually Bitcoin maxis. That's the question. Is XRP doing this kind of a thing? Is XRP doing it's like this? And I personally think it is. It's doing kind of an all-time X, A, B, C, D, kind of a crab alignment. Your 1618 is literally right there. I mean, have we seen this before? You're at the 1618 of this kind of configuration. Pause. Okay, great. That's roughly 200 billion. We've talked about that. But after, is that it? Where does this end? And then we go parabolic. If we're going to do the same thing we've seen Bitcoin do, that you're here, 1618, 1902 is like that. All right, that's the general area. Are you going to go do a 3618 for XRP on this cycle? Is it going to be like one of those? Just so we're clear. And I've seen crazy, I know there's people shilling all of this saying, yeah, XRP is going to go to, I don't know, 1,000 a coin or 100 a coin, or, I don't, it's crazy. But what I reasonably, in the kind of a best case scenario measured, a 3618 expansion of that long-term cycle, it'll get you to 465. basically, I mean, we're only 167 billion now, almost three times where you are. So basically, what, 750, $8? But it would have to really get going pretty soon. Don't know. What do you guys think about XRP? Because it's absolutely, um, again, trying to kind of piece out what are the possibilities here. We have. Oh, this was the other thing. It's back-to-back patterns. At least for now, that's why you're capped. But is that gonna you eventually break that out? And I think above 200 billion on XRP is probably the next acceleration point. Mitch Mueller's saying 10 to 15. Yeah, I don't know. I think in the short term, you're just looking for this stabilize at a high level, not break the uptrend. And again, even on the our daily time frame, look at why we're consolidating. XRP, and it's similar to Bitcoin. They have to regain these 50 levels. That's amplified. Could be standard RSI too. I know that's kind of lagging, but you're almost there. So again, I'm still of the opinion, guys, that whatever this retracement phase, however long it's going to take, it's probably going to be over by mid-month, which is like 10 days away. So yeah, Neil wants to look at SUI. Sure. I mean, that's another one. People are, hyped about it. I still say we got to go shark to 5.0. You guys know that that's basically here at 308 as a minimum. That would be the next jump on point within this longer term uptrend. It's been all over the place, but that's a nice uptrend. What's the only problem with it is it's not accelerating like you want to see it, but you have to anticipate. Anticipate that fundamentally the uptrend from last year is still intact, and the bullish dots there and down here are areas to be looking for the retrace and then the continuation. The big skyrocket move is, that probably going to take a lot longer, and I mean go 1618 from here. But it's possible. This is pretty much where we find ourselves with the best crypto opportunities. They did the retrace. Okay. Wait for the daily dots, or even if we had weekly dots. I would think daily dots at this point, because SUI, you go back to April here, that was the last time. And you don't want to see these back at April levels. I mean, Neil, that's a great chart, man. I just think you're gonna have to be in here a little while longer to resolve it before you can get price discovery part two. But it's a great one. I mean, and I always talk about trending crypto, that you want the longer term trend like that, and you want to be buying it on these daily type retracements. I think that's at you're 326. You're almost there. We've talked about this for weeks. $657 for SUI. Yeah, I think that could happen. It definitely could happen, but the clear continuation of it all has to happen basically $3. And that's different than, oh, I don't know. This storage is like an old layer one, I guess. It's like this. You're back at all-time lows. I mean, that's pretty much dead. Pretty much dead. So again, the way to look at a lot of these, first we got to differentiate them. Yeah, here's another one. This Celestia that we were looking at since like I think 6 or 5. Yeah, we were looking at Celestia down here a year ago and saying, okay, this is did the 886 cycle. There's a dot. It went from 5 to 9 and then right back down. But this year, you're back at all-time new lows. So absolutely different. There's just a bunch of this stuff. Oh, you got to sort it out. I think it's you get back to 3 on something like SUI, then you go. That, and then the other one was hype. I know a lot of people are talking about this hyperliquid. I mean, yeah, I get it. Right now, I think there's a lot of stuff here at 45, 47, and I look for stuff like this. Just wait for these next retracements daily. $40. But they should be developing literally in the next 2 weeks. Look for that kind of stuff to come together, and set up the last retracement. That's it. We're looking for that next retracement wherever it comes in. If it's Ethereum back at 36 or 42, we're going to get dots before it goes. Yeah. That's what you're looking for. And that's where we are on all this. Um, yeah, Bitcoin's back 110 right now. All right, we rallied $500. Well done, guys. $500. 4-hour chart. Let me just come back to this and I'll jump back to stocks here. Let me take out the GLD here. Goodbye. Thank you. Okay. 4-hour time frame is trying to come out. So I think over the weekend, that's what you're looking for. This to hold. Go into tomorrow. We really need to be coming out of the zone. 110 is the hop level. Yeah, we're underneath there, or we're at there. I'm still looking for minimum pullback, retracement, pushback to like 118. But this has to hold this weekend. I mean, we'll come in here on Tuesday, and we'll know. We'll know. Is this the only other thing I could consider? Because this is a target one off the deep crab we talked about way back July and August. That's what's capped the show. That's my maximum level. You're gonna come back for a target 2. Now I'm gonna say it's possible, but I'm still focused on 111, and I'll say these 108, 109-ish for this continuation. Again, looking for the end of this retracement that literally started in July, because that was the initial high. Yeah, you want to see it back up. I think you need to see it back above 111, Neil. Yeah. We did Ethereum, and I'm going to wait on Ethereum until we get a really clear retracement. I'm hoping on the daily. Bitcoin needs to stabilize, turn around, put in a higher low. Yeah, can we get a little higher low here on the right side? But that's what we're kind of faced. And every day that we move forward now into September, gets you closer to the end. Again, I'm looking for the majority of what's supposed to happen to be done by Christmas. Anyway, really quick, guys. NASDAQ Made it up to 600 right now on the 5 minute. Where was that? Like this. There you go. Failed on RTH, regular trading. That was it. Hold on. Yeah, the 5 minute. This is looking strong. The thing that's got me is the hourly. And this is on the RTH. Ever since this last HSI dot, like right at 23.1, looks like we're back for the full type 2. And that's typically what we're looking for. You know, there's a T1 with a dot. Get to target 1. That's the minimum objective. But then to complete the return move, where is the dot? It's actually down here. And in the same way, we have a bearish dot, but what do you need? You got check back, one red candle. You still need a red candle on the hourly before you can even think this return move's done. We're 23.6. XA level is 23.7, 27. I like to look, this is the RTH, regular trading hours. I like to look at that. You don't get as many kind of opportunities, pattern levels, but when you do, definitely favor that. While the electronic hours 24/7 looks like we want to bust. We're not stopping here. Clearly, we're not doing shark to 5-0. We're probably doing again target 2 on this move. So consider that for now, rest of the day and tomorrow. Also, I mean, it's same deal for the markets. Are the markets going to go down much further for September, October than they are now? Maybe we get, like I said when I started today, some kind of secondary test. But for right now, we're back to back. And the pattern from that started end of July gave you a Gartley into August. Got all the way down, already hit type 2, and now there's a new bullish pattern. So this should start a new sequence, if you will, new pattern after the bearish pattern did the 1 and then the 2 in an elongated fashion. I'd be looking 715 now. Get up to 715 tomorrow, Monday. Certainly by Tuesday we come back. But we're, it's fully on. I don't know. What do you guys want to look at? Let's. Why don't you shoot me a couple of symbols, stocks, markets, anything. I'll go for another 5 or 10 minutes. And my apologies on what happened today with the connection and everything. Okay, LAC for Ali. And I'll get to Bitcoin dominance, sure. Let's do it that way. LAC. Oh yeah, this is the low for lithium America. It's a monthly. We talked about this. Yeah, was it 2 something? It's yeah, it's still the bat. Look. It's still the massive bat. Confirmation is that green line at 251, 279. What you're looking for is this like silver. I think lithium, silver, uranium, there's a lot of plays like this. But the way that these plays work out is they usually go through some kind of hyper cycle, the commodity cycle. Commodity cycles usually blast for 18 months or so, maybe 2 years, and then come back and retest it. That's another. You're waiting for another lithium cycle to explode. I mean, geez, silver, SLV didn't do anything for decades and now is like atop everybody's list. SLV. We talked about that last time. Couple more. All right. H bar. I'll save the crypto. Let's circle back crypto. Let's hit stocks for a second. MicroStrategy. What's going on there? Longer term chart. Can't we get to 500? Pretty interesting. There's the monthly candle again. What's going on with this? Is this breaking the channel? Well, I'd still be looking for an eventual retest to the all-time 1618. The daily's like this. Yeah, I think we're just scraping this low end. Think of it this way. The channel's still intact. All right, and you're banging several oversold levels, much like you were back here and here. And it's a good thing for MicroStrategy. I mean, this has been a monster, one of the best, greatest returns of the last 3 years. So I think just give it time. Look for the weekly to get oversold and pivot out, which it is hitting now. So that's a good thing. You want to see that. So maybe next week on MicroStrategy, that's another way to be kind of sizing up crypto in general. People got to be feeding the MicroStrategy beast with new capital, driving that stock to get if crypto is in a position to move again. The obvious, this green line, that's a check back level. That may be 281, but it's probably more about what's going on here. You're oversold. It's got to pivot out. That needs another week. But looking, I mean, you should be looking that general 300 area. What do you mean they're stealing MicroStrategy Bitcoins? Don't know. Let's keep it going. Agilent, A, 127. Nice shark to 50. Yeah, this is yeah, just shark to 50. I mean, look, obviously 100 is the support level, 150 obvious resistance, and plus targets are there. But that's a type 1 shark to 50. So and you're bucking against a couple of these. Agilent's been one of those. Who spun them off? I forget. I think AT&T. This was used to be part of AT&T. You're just down here, and seriously, it hasn't done much for 4 years, but you're just like this, waiting. It's not That's not bad, but you're kind of waiting. Not a heck of a lot. A couple of these patterns, but they've got a. You need a type 2 on that. Yeah, Butterfly was back here on the daily at 110. I mean, you keep holding 100. Couple more. Sure. Google is a monster. Google is another one with this breakout that it's just new cycle, this something new. I don't want to say new paradigm, but I do want to say that is a massive breakout demonstration of hey, I'm a bull monster. I'm an absolute monster, bull monster. And you're at the higher end of the multi-year channel. Totally agree with that, but something else is going on. I mean, Google was one of the laggards, had a lot of great patterns down here back in 2022, 2023. Most of them, like Meta and others, have done 2, 3x. This is doubled, but this tells me this is probably going to do some kind of pop-off move. And this uptrend, fully intact. Do you go buy it tomorrow? Hell no. But just do note the progress of Google here where going forward, like two 190, maybe even 210 ish is your kind of moving support. But multi-year, this thing has got massive 3618 written all over. I mean, again, off the 2022 corrective move there, X ABCD, there's the 1618 to 1902 range, and you're taking that out now. I mean, 1902 was like there at 207, and I'm thinking, like gold and a lot of these, this is part of what we talked about yesterday, excuse me, that a part of this cycle move. Are we going to do 3618s? That's what we're assuming. That's really, with this kind of cycle breakout move, the stocks are going to keep going higher. You're looking at this cycle to go from 1618 now and resolve it and take a new character where you accelerate for the cycle. And we've done it many times before. Probably anything could come away from that narrative wise. I know they've got a quantum chip and all of that. Doesn't matter. I want you guys to be noticing like extreme, aggressive, strong trending behavior. Measure it up, and then set the levels where can we go accelerated, which is like 230 to 330, 320. You're looking for that kind of a move in Google now that it's been pierced. Couple more. ASAN. What's that? Yeah, I can't do anything with that. I mean, I see what you're saying, like, hey, maybe this recovers someday, and there's some things here, but I would say if I was going to tell you to buy, put $10,000 into this or Google, I'm going to tell you Google every time. So again, that's not trending, that's scraping lows. The only way for me to really see something like this that would be an opportunity is if, look, we've got to make some progress out of here. There and come down and then go. I mean, you'd be down there for a long time. You want to try to catch the turnaround move. I just have to say, be aware that you'd be spending a lot of time here. Meanwhile, Google has broken out all-time new highs, and the path of least resistance for Google is like 300. It's not 200 or 230. Speaking about higher, NASDAQ's moving higher. Now 612. It's going to 700, guys. Qubits is another one with the quantum stocks here. Did a big move. That's the weekly. We were looking at this earlier in the summer. Down here, back in July at like 15, went to 20. You're back down again. This one's trending, and this is similar to what I've been saying of like, okay, let them trend, do that, and then get it on a retracement, and here you go. Qubits at 15 again. Has to hold the obvious levels, but yeah, you're looking for that to continue right where it is. It's like Rigetti too. Remember Rigetti? We were Rigetti back here at 11, went to 18, came back again, and setting up to go again. And we're still looking for 20 on Rigetti. Silver, yeah, just stay long silver, going to 45. A couple more. Bank of America. What's up, hot dog? Bank of America, and a lot of the banks, guys, they are just direct beneficiaries of government spending. Who's going to carry all their debt? Who's going to process it? It's easy money. Wow. Bank of America is at $50. Remember when Warren Buffett, the financial crisis, basically did all kind of convertible warrants at $3 a share? Mind-blowing. Look, you're back at the all-time highs. That's amazing. 51. It's a shark. Bank of America. Oh my goodness. With confirmation. But look, you had that looping. This stuff is, it's still, I still get amazed, especially on the monthly. Financial crisis, okay? We had a bearish shark pattern. And it went, what was it, 55 and the low. Hi, I'm Warren Buffett. I'll loan you all the money you need here at $3 a share. What a steal. Amazing. But now, back here, all right, let's watch it. That's an interesting one. Because of the secondary confirmation, but you do have major things. I'll say this. This really, Bank of America has to get above the hop. It has to clear this area to really do something. Now, otherwise, what is it then? It could just be the biggest 886 retrace. That what are we looking at? Can't even really, it's tough. Like, what's that? 618? Maybe it's something like this. 886-ish is there. That's a good one to follow. 50. Let's see. I mean, if the market really gets going, that should bust out. Yeah, I mean, that's interesting. Oh, a few more. Intel. What else you guys have? Intel. I don't know what PGen is. Amazon, Bull, CXAI. No, CXAI, we've been just waiting on that. And we've been saying, yeah, it is wrecked. I mean, CXAI is under 79 cents and waiting for a dot. Now 64, no biggie. Like, we're still watching that. It said under 79, and we had the secondary dot on the daily. So, no action yet. Maybe 33. But this dropped into the ID zone. Amazon. Yeah, I mean, Amazon, look at that. It's up 9. Just stay long. I mean, I don't, again, we're not. Amazon, I think 253. It's a hop retest. I'm still long. I'm not selling this. I mean, again, generational type of move here that we take out these all-time highs. It's like Nvidia. We're just continuing the next cycle, and it's based on the whole continuation. Look, massive dot continuation here. Massive. Apple was the other one that, that was up huge yesterday. And again, look at this. Apple's firmly in control. Apple's another one. Go back to the top end of the channel, 273. Bull, Webull, it's a slow mover. I'm still long. Still long. Yeah, a little disappointing that it's not moving. But Webull's still here. Look, a couple patterns, 4-hour-ish. There you go. Couple of things like, 12 something, 13. A dot on the 4-hour. Okay. All of those. Tesla. I think Tesla's the other one that it will basically just wake up. We're at the end of the wedge. I mean, this is a daily and also a weekly wedge here. We are so squeezed. We need to retest that 360 level if it was going to be a real bearish situation, but it's not. Look, the last, I try to explain this because I always have these assumptions that, look, I'm never surprised when the market does an up, down, up, down, up, down. It's really just pinpointing on dots and retracements like there and here that we know we're not mooning, but we're definitely progressing. And this is, a healthy chart. It seems like it's up and down, but look, higher highs, higher lows, and there you go again. So your jump on points of the last couple of months we have another one, 333-ish, and then 320, 304, and 289. On your way up to 360, 398-ish. That doesn't change. So all good. Long range crypto says BTC is not going parabolic anymore. I think we're going to know in 30 days. I think we are. I think you'll have that one run and it's going to happen and then it's going to be too late for most people. Eric is asking, who is suppressing ASAN? I don't know, but they've been doing it for a long time. And I don't know, again, just go with the trend. Joe wants to look at Newmont Mining. And yeah, look, gold miners. I think the next play, guys, silver miners. I really think the silver miners are due because the whole silver thing is at a level where people are waking up. Yeah, the gold move's been happening for a few years. And look, Newmont Mining was basically decade lows a year ago. 30 to 75. Well done. I mean, what about AU, Anglo Ashanti? All-time new highs. Massive crab pattern on the weekly, but, that just hit this week. What are some of the silver miners? Stocks. Miners, silver miners. I don't know. AG, First Majestic Silver. Yeah, there you go. AG, First Majestic Silver. Bat pattern, but this, all right. Current shark, bearish shark, get the retracement and then start moving higher. Ooh, but that's a great month. There you go. Hello. Look at that. Almost a perfect type 2. I mean, so damn close. Maybe I gotta dig deep on the silver miners and start looking for some of these. Yeah, CDE, I remember that one. It's been a long time. I used to buy that back in the early 2000s. Oh. Whoa, there you go. 14. Yeah, see, these things move generationally, but that's quite a chart. CDE, wow. And what probably happens is that it does the mass recovery. It takes years to base out, but then just really starts moving. That's why I think that's where it is. Like the silver miners with silver above 40 and they get to 50 or something, look out. Yeah, pass is the other one. You read my mind. Pan American Silver. 33. Okay. Go to 38. Cycle run. Yep. That's about it. I don't know. One or two more. How about Intel? How about Intel? What about these other semiconductors? Because I'm trying to think, if we're not going to have any jobs in 10 years, like all AI, and you're going to have the robots, well then what are the people going to sell? I mean, what's going to be the growth industry still? It's going to probably just be still chips. Intel's a recovery play, guys. All right, I like it. I think monthly you're there. I'm still long. I'm still underwater. Long by 5 points. I've been sitting on that forever. Kind of teach myself a lesson. If you're looking for a new play, yeah. I mean, it's a type 1 shark. It's trying to get out of the zone. I like what's going on here on Intel on the monthly because look, really nice development. You just need the 50 level to crack on amplified. That's probably 1-2 bullish months away, and you get yourself back to target 1. ASML, yeah, monthly. This is the other thought. Like if we're right about these longer term moves, then ASML here is an example of that's the big retracement. So this retrace that started almost 2 years ago is probably done down here, and you're above the 50. You know, get going like that. And certainly, you know, for ASML, I like it. I know there's patterns down here. It's just taking its time. When this happens, and amplified crosses not only back above the 50, but above that prior little peak, that's the trigger. You know, kind of like what we saw back here in 2022. And the daily is like this. Where's the pattern? It might be a weekly. Yeah, oh, there's a couple things here, but the weekly pattern was there. Shark 626. It's just a question of where you're going to buy them on the retrace for the larger cycle move. And semiconductors remain the spot, guys. I don't know. Couple more. U2. Yeah, sorry about today. Yeah, that we lost that today. I'm going on here for a long time. Treasuries. Okay. This is probably a good place to wrap things up. Treasuries. Guys, are we going to have spiking interest rates? Because there's the 2-year rolling over, and this is the thing that I said a long time ago, that the 1618 level, even though we were overspilling, was about all it could do. If it needs to come back to do a 382 pullback, that's under 3%. And everyone's talking about, and they're worried about, like the 20-year yield. 20-year, like this. Or 30, you know, you're back almost at 5%. I think shorter rates rolling over. Are they going to cut? Probably. Yeah, that's almost like 100% now. And everyone's worried about these longer term rates, but there's the 30-year chart. And it's a crab pattern. Beautiful. Confirmation up here. If we were looking at this, okay, there's the T1 with the dot reaction counter HSI. More confirmation here. Throws it back counter HSI. Can't get through that other area. So again, this is, you're scraping it. I mean, above 5% would be really surprising. I know that's what, when people are talking about gold and stuff, they want to, you know, say that interest rates are spiking. They're not spiking. They're stalling. And let's see what happens with the rate cut. You know, another week or two. But the story that's being told is different, almost opposite to what's happening. But I think it's, you know, it doesn't really matter, because you're gonna have growth. You're gonna have increased monetary supply. It's more of just how are they going to deal with it. You know, it's not going to go into energy prices going through the roof, because energy prices are rolling over too. You're just going through these bumps, guys. That's it. I'm not changing my outlook on of where we are on all of this. If it's Bitcoin, okay, if it's rates going up, it doesn't matter. Markets are going to go higher. The targets for the markets are higher. You know, in a nutshell, that's what we talked about yesterday. All right. Again, let me finish up. Here's industrials. probably the most prescient chart. It's a big SAT word, meaning kind of important, relevant, meaningful for the time, is this hop test at 45,658 happening literally as we speak. 658. We're currently 574. You're watching this now. Is there anything here? No. Build the argument. Ask yourself, is there a pattern there? Yeah. What is it? It's a type 2. What do we need with type 2s? Confirmation. Do we have any confirmation? No. What's the state of the trend? It's up. HSI is actually returned after a 50 level. And this stuff continues. Even HSI is above the 50. All of this is pointing to higher prices, trend continuation. Be really clear on that. As far as the rest of it, of crypto, whatever, just be patient. All right, I got to get my shit together on my connections and the rest of it. Let's give away one 30-day package, and you'll get the recording from yesterday. HPC 30 gets you the winner of the day for the 30-day package. I do have a couple of new announcements on some upgrades, and that's coming in a few weeks, but I'll probably release that next week of what's going to happen. It's going to be some programmability. I think you guys will like it. Some AI stuff we're just starting to do. Wayne, let's hit the SPY next time, all right? We'll hit SPY next time, because again, the takeaway for stocks, guys, and just do NASDAQ, and NASDAQ's back up, is now 620. Look, NASDAQ's going higher now, and it's all about this daily signal that just completed literally today. A daily HSI dot. That's massive. It's a massive signal, so take that home with you. All right? Hit the Discord. You got it? HPC 30. If you want to win that. And that's about it. Roy, 176. I'll take HPC 100 at this point after the sloppiness of today's show. But you win. You guys got it. I'll be back Tuesday. Went way too long. Get some lunch. And we'll get ready for this continuation. All right. Roy, you got to send me a note on Discord. Everybody else, if you want the recording, DM me there. And for God's sakes, everybody, watch out for the scammers. Again, I have to bring this up that a guy on Facebook last week, all right, and then I finally caught up with him, and just avoid him. I don't solicit. You guys know the deal. But, it was unbelievable. And I told the guy to cut the shit out, and he threatened to kill me. Seriously, I'll show it to you. Here you go. Where is it? All right, here you go. Look. This was the scammer, okay? And I'll show you how he scammed. He was requesting people to connect with him in my name. It's this guy. It was Scott Carney. And I'll show you the profile in a second. But then I was able to message him. I was like, cut the shit out. And he scammed people. And then he says, if you don't mind your business, I will kill you. I swear. Dare to try any more nonsense on my post. I was telling people to avoid this guy. So I don't know why it's like that. It's that on Discord and Facebook. Avoid that stuff. And everyone else, just hit subscribe. If you have any questions, DM me on Discord directly. I'm available. But until then, I'm out of here. Great one. Thanks, guys. Sorry about today. We'll have a better one on Tuesday. As always, go get 'em. Have a great